Hey, friends! Now, sometime back, I reviewed a classic horror picture from the 1970s. 1977's The Car, starring Josh Brolin's dad as a local sheriff facing a demonic car, wreaking havoc in his small desert community. Turns out this movie had a sort of follow-up in 2019, so I thought I'd give it a gander. It's called The Car, Road to Revenge, starring almost no one you'd know. Now, it's important to note that this isn't a sequel to the original movie. No, it's more of a remake where they rejiggered some things and still kept some of the cool stuff from The Car while still doing their own riff on it. So it doesn't really follow the story in the first movie, nor the original novelization. For all intents and purposes, it's practically a new movie. Our story goes like this. In the near future, a crusading district attorney is out to bust a big bad guy called the Knight. He gets hold of a microchip with secret info on it that details the bad guy's gang activities, and they want that chip back. This DA just bought this fancy new car, and he wants to show it off, so he's very successful, but he's also a big narcissist. He gets his ex-girlfriend, our heroine, to agree to go on a date, but he ruins it by being a jerk. That night, the bad guy sends the gang to his office to get the chip, and they torture the DA and throw him out the window. He lands directly on top of his new car. Soon, the car is possessed by his spirit and is out for revenge. To that end, the car mows down bad guys, well, sort of watching over the ex-girlfriend. A detective is on the case trying to find out what happened to the dead DA and whatever the deal is with this car going around killing people. The Knight has a cadre of souped-up henchmen with cybernetic implants, and they're interesting, like this chick who has a flamethrower attachment. The gang is after the heroine because they think the dead DA might have given her the chip, so she and the cop have to work together to kick ass, bust the bad guys, and avoid the car. Won't lie, going in I wasn't hoping for much. Given how remakes have been handled in the last decade or so, I thought the movie would be total crap. In fact, I expected it to be terrible. Just The Car in name only, kinda like Star Trek Discovery. But I was surprised, pleasantly so, to find Road to Revenge was actually pretty good. For what it was, they did bring in Ronny Cox, who played a deputy in the original version of The Car. Here, he plays a junkyard mechanic in what amounts to an extended cameo. Nice they had him in this, though. So, this is from 2019, so you'd expect the movie to have a lot of messaging and that kind of junk, but it doesn't. This is not a woke movie. The heroine is still a strong female character, but done right. While she lives a posh life, when we first meet her, she came from the streets, so she knows how to do some kickboxing and basic self-defense. So when she fights the gang guys, she can kinda hold her own, but she still gets her ass kicked a lot of the time. Compare that to the women in the intersectional feminist no-male gaze Charlie's Angels movie, or the 355, where pixie chicks beat up guys 3 times their size with no problem. She also knows how to use firearms, so she can do that too, but it still makes sense and doesn't really seem forced or fake. The dead DA is a misogynist, but a real one. Again, not the fake kind. It's not about patriarchy or any of that crap. He's a control freak and a jerk who wants to own the chick again. Then he becomes a car. Kinda like Turbo Teen, only murderous. The detective liked him too, tough cop doing what he can to take down the bad guys and make the world a better place, in spite of that world being implacably crappy. The near future setting is an interesting choice. It's a crappy looking world, all gray and dull, with cyberpunk gang dudes and scavengers running around, but the city is not overrun with them. The tech, what we see of it, is kind of cool. They have holographic interfaces, and I liked how the chick's phone and this tablet were like glass. You don't see much of that high-end tech though, and everyone drives regular-looking cars and wears regular-looking clothes. So why they opted for the near future thing is curious, since it doesn't really matter too much aside from the cyberpunk gang the Knight runs with their cybernetic implants. There is some dodgy CGI here and there, but the effects look pretty good for the most part. One downside, I think, is that unlike the Wraith, the car doesn't just kill the gang dudes, it kills anyone, even if they didn't do anything. But why? Why kill them? This is supposedly the spirit of the dead DA possessing the car, right? So he was a jerk, yeah, but randomly killing civilians didn't make sense. I watched the so-called unrated version on Amazon Prime. I think that just means they show more of the topless ladies dancing at a club, along with some more scenes of graphic gore. As you know, graphic slasher stuff isn't my cup of Ovaltine, but it wasn't too much for me. It has to be said, Road to Revenge is not as good as the original movie. That was kind of a special thing made during a special time, but this movie does modernize some stuff, and it does its own thing with the material, even when doing a callback to the 1977 version. I'm giving The Car, Road to Revenge 2.5 paws. Maybe it doesn't deserve it, but they created something new while still showing respect for the 1977 movie. It doesn't feel slow, and it doesn't have the pitfalls that seem to come with most remakes made today. You can watch my review of the original version of The Car here, and down there you can watch some more horror movie reviews. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.